Imagine being sent away, not just from a place, but from a life you were trying to build. Imagine the confusion, the fear, the sheer disbelief. Imagine being sent away from a country where you sought safety, a sanctuary from the dangers you left behind, a place you hoped would offer a new beginning, a chance to rebuild, only to be brought back, unexpectedly and against all reason, only to be brought back because of a government mistake, a simple error, perhaps on a piece of paper, but one that carries enormous consequences. This is the story of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a man caught in the cogs of bureaucracy. A case that challenges our ideas of justice, fairness, and the very essence of what it means to be treated with dignity within a legal system, and exposes the cracks in our systems, the vulnerabilities that can swallow individuals whole. It reveals the human element often lost within the rigid structures of law and policy. In March, Abrego Garcia was deported, swiftly and unexpectedly, from the United States to El Salvador, a country he had sought refuge from, a place he likely never wanted to see again, even though he was supposed to remain in the U.S., under the jurisdiction of the American legal system, to face serious criminal charges, charges that demanded his presence, his testimony, and his engagement with the legal process. The error triggered a scramble, a flurry of activity behind closed doors, among U.S. officials to bring him back, to rectify the mistake and ensure the integrity of the legal proceedings. The process was complicated, a tangled web of legal requirements and bureaucratic hurdles, involving multiple agencies and urgent legal action, requiring collaboration and swift decision-making at the highest levels. For Abrego Garcia, the confusion and fear must have been immense, must have been overwhelming, a disorienting experience that challenged his understanding of justice and fairness. One day facing trial, with the weight of the legal system bearing down on him, the next, sent to a country he'd fled, a place where he may have feared for his safety. The U.S. government admitted the mistake, acknowledging the error and its potential consequences, and took steps to correct it, initiating a complex process to undo the damage and bring Abrego Garcia back to the United States. A rare move that underscored the seriousness of the error, highlighting the potential impact on the individual and the integrity of the legal system. His return to the U.S. was more than a bureaucratic fix. It was a matter of principle. It was a statement about the importance of due process, the fundamental right to a fair and just legal proceeding. Now, he would have his day in court, the opportunity to present his case and defend himself against the charges, as the law requires, ensuring that everyone is treated equally under the eyes of justice. This episode highlights the intersection, the complex interplay, of immigration and criminal justice systems, two distinct but often intertwined legal frameworks, and how easily things can go wrong, how a single error can have a cascading effect on an individual's life. Mistakes like this force us to examine procedures, to scrutinize the processes that are in place, and demand better safeguards, to prevent similar errors from occurring in the future and to protect the rights of individuals. Kilmar Abrego Garcia's story is not just a headline, it's a human drama. It's a reminder of the human cost, the emotional toll that these errors can take on individuals and their families. When systems fail, when the machinery of government malfunctions, it's about laws but also about people, about the individuals who are affected by these laws and policies, about the search for fairness in a complex world, where justice can sometimes seem elusive and difficult to attain. As we follow his case, as we delve deeper into the legal proceedings, we must remember the real lives at stake, the human beings who are impacted by the decisions that are made within the legal system. Justice isn't just about rules, about following the letter of the law. It's about getting it right for everyone involved, ensuring that fairness and equity prevail in the pursuit of justice. To truly understand the complexities of this case, to grasp the nuances and the weight of the accusations, we need to delve into the life of the individual at its center and know who Kilmar Abrego Garcia is. What experiences shaped him? What led him to this point? He's originally from El Salvador, a nation with a rich history, but also a country that has been tragically plagued by gang violence for decades. This violence has touched countless lives, forcing many to make impossible choices. Like many others seeking a better life, he sought refuge in the U.S., driven by the hope of escaping the turmoil he knew. He was hoping for safety, stability, and a new start, a chance to build a life free from the constant threat of violence. His lawyer contends that he fled to escape the very gangs, the same criminal organizations, He's now, ironically, accused of helping, a twist of fate that could have devastating consequences. The defense argues that he's a victim of circumstance, caught in a web of events beyond his control, not a criminal mastermind orchestrating events from the shadows. His journey, fraught with peril and uncertainty, was driven by survival, by the instinct to protect himself, not malice or a desire to cause harm. Understanding his background, the context of his life, is absolutely crucial. He's not just a defendant in a legal case, a name on a document, but a young man whose life has been profoundly shaped, molded by violence, constant fear, and the ever-present specter of trauma. As we delve deeper into the charges against him and the circumstances surrounding his mistaken deportation, a bureaucratic error with life-altering consequences, we must always keep his personal story, his unique narrative, firmly in mind. Every case that passes through the legal system is about more than just the cold, hard letter of the law. It's fundamentally about the people whose lives are intertwined with it, the human beings behind the headlines. How does someone facing federal charges get deported by mistake? Abrego Garcia was in ICE custody, awaiting trial in Virginia. Normally, deportation is paused until criminal cases are resolved, but a breakdown in communication led to his removal to El Salvador. The Department of Justice and Homeland Security quickly admitted the error. The failure exposed gaps in agency coordination and oversight. Legal teams and federal courts moved fast to order his return. Judge intervention was key, underscoring the court's role in checking government mistakes. The incident raised alarms about the reliability of our immigration and justice systems. For Abrego Garcia, it meant more uncertainty and distress. This case is a stark reminder. Bureaucratic errors have real human consequences. Better safeguards are needed to prevent this from happening again. Kilmar Abrego. Garcia's journey has been fraught with complications. After being mistakenly deported, he found himself back in the United States. But why was Kilmar Abrego Garcia supposed to stay in the U.S. in the first place? What legal obligations tied him to American soil? The answer lies in a series of federal charges. He faces federal charges for allegedly transporting undocumented people into the country. These charges stem from accusations that he played a role in facilitating illegal border crossings. This is considered a serious crime under federal law, carrying potentially significant penalties. The government claims he was part of a network, a coordinated effort, smuggling people across the border. They allege his involvement went beyond isolated incidents. These operations are dangerous, often putting vulnerable individuals at extreme risk. The journey across the border can be perilous. Furthermore, these activities can be linked to larger criminal organizations, which profit from human smuggling and other illicit activities. The indictment details specific incidents, outlining the alleged actions and timelines related to the charges against him. However, it's crucial to remember that Abrego Garcia is presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. Prosecutors may try to connect him to gangs, suggesting his alleged smuggling activities were tied to organized crime. If such a connection is established, it would make the charges even more severe, potentially leading to harsher penalties under federal sentencing guidelines. His lawyer vehemently denies any gang involvement, arguing that the prosecution's claims are unfounded and lack evidence. The trial will test the government's evidence, scrutinizing the strength and validity of their case against Abrego Garcia. It will also test the defense's arguments, as they attempt to poke holes in the prosecution's case and present an alternative narrative. It's important to separate the mistaken deportation, a bureaucratic error, from the criminal case itself, which focuses on the alleged smuggling activities. Now, despite the prior error, he'll have the chance to defend himself in court against these serious charges. The outcome will depend on the facts presented during the trial, the evidence scrutinized, not the error that sent him away, which is a separate matter altogether. Due process is the foundation of justice, ensuring fairness and impartiality in the legal system. This is his opportunity to be heard, to present his side of the story, and to challenge the accusations against him. The government's perspective is clear. Human smuggling and gang activity are top priorities for law enforcement. Attorney General Pam Bondi and others have long argued that prosecuting these crimes is essential for public safety. They see cases like Abrego Garcia's as threats to border security and the rule of law. Any alleged gang connections raise the stakes even higher. The government's determination to bring him back after the deportation shows how seriously they take these charges. For them, letting him remain in El Salvador would mean letting a potential criminal escape justice. Their focus is on accountability and deterrence. On the other side, Abrego Garcia's legal team paints a different picture. His lawyer insists he fled El Salvador to escape gang violence, not to join it. They argue he deserves a fair hearing in both criminal and immigration courts. The defense may claim he was coerced or acted out of desperation, not criminal intent. They challenge the government's evidence and narrative. For them, this case is about more than charges. It's about a young man's fight for safety. They want the court to consider his full story, not just the accusations. Compassion and context matter. The defense seeks a holistic view, hoping the facts will show he's not a threat. Ultimately, they're asking for justice and a chance at protection. This case unfolded during a period of intense debate over immigration policy. The Trump administration prioritized strict enforcement and deportations, often clashing with the courts. Federal judges, like Judge Emmett G. Sullivan, stepped in to correct government errors and uphold due process. Abrego Garcia's case became a flashpoint for these tensions. It highlighted the checks and balances between the executive branch and the judiciary. Advocacy groups and lawyers fought for fair hearings and protection for those fleeing violence. The push and pull between enforcement and individual rights is a constant in U.S. immigration law. Administrative mistakes can have life-altering consequences. The courts play a crucial role in safeguarding rights and correcting errors. This dynamic continues to shape immigration policy today. Why do people like Abrego Garcia risk everything to leave home? El Salvador is gripped by gang violence. MS-13 and Barrio 18 control neighborhoods, extort businesses, and recruit youth by force. Refusing gangs can mean death. Daily life is marked by fear. Many flee not for economic gain, but for survival. The journey is dangerous, but staying can be fatal. U.S. and international law recognize that fleeing gang persecution can be grounds for asylum. Immigration courts must weigh these claims carefully. Leaving home is a desperate last resort. Kilmar Abrego Garcia's story is about more than a bureaucratic error. It raises big questions about due process, agency coordination, and the balance between prosecution and protection. Behind every case is a person with hopes and fears. The court's intervention showed the importance of judicial oversight. The case spotlights flaws in the system and the need for reform. It also forces us to confront the root causes of migration, violence, and insecurity. Balancing security with compassion is a challenge for any nation. This case is a call for thoughtful, humane solutions. What lies ahead for Abrego Garcia? He'll face federal charges in court, where the government and his defense will present their cases. At the same time, he may seek asylum or other protection, fearing return to El Salvador. The outcome of his criminal case could affect his immigration status. His case is being watched by legal experts and advocates alike. The mistaken deportation has already prompted calls for better procedures. Ultimately, his story is a test of the system's ability to deliver justice and fairness. The hope is for a resolution that upholds both the law and our humanity.